Hey everyone, Rick here, and folks, welcome to Game Room Tour 2021 on this super snowy day in Bellevue, Nebraska. All right, so I just finished watching the 2020 gaming retrospective from Tom Vassell of the Dice Tower and Richard Ham, Rado, as he's known online. Now, these two differ so much personally, but also somewhat game related, yet they get along so well. So that really gives me hope for 2021 and gave me the inspiration to say, Rick, all right, let's go do this game room tour, something I've been looking forward to for a while now. So let's jump right in with the games. All right, folks, and we are starting upstairs. Why? Because if you have seen any of my prior videos, you know that the game room has absolutely exploded. It is now encompassing the living room as well. We have 1,100 miniatures in this display case for, oh, that's right, Battlefields of Mana. And I have videos depicting much closer, better looks at each of the forces and this cabinet in general. Spend a lot of my time up here playing video games on the computer, etc., but also have this little temporary setup. Picked up this folding table, which is fantastic, at Walmart. 4 feet by 2 feet, which is perfect for the 2 foot by 2 foot square for Battlefields of Mana. Got some figures here. Here is where I have been recording my battle reports. This thing folds in half, super portable. Got a lot of dice for Christmas, including these Nightmare Before Christmas Oogie Boogie dice, which are freaking amazing. Tons more dice down here too. Oh my gosh, absolutely in love. I wanted to start up here because I don't know if some of this stuff gets any love. Like, here's all my Wood Elf figures for Warhammer Fantasy. There's even more capsule machines up here, like the Mage Knight capsule machine. Oh, that's right, for the old miniature war game collectible figures. I don't even know if you can see them in there. Yeah, 50 cents will get you one, folks. And then a bunch of out-of-print card games. You know, these will slide out one of those little folders with a card in it. So anyway, yeah, even popped my PS2. Little retro video gaming as well as more modern gaming. But hey, we're here for, I don't know, some people when they see my game room tours, I think they're hoping it's video game related if they're not subscribed. Okay, so anyway, we're already passing by some friends of mine gave that to me for Christmas, or my birthday one year actually, made it themselves. I found this dungeon entrance sign. A lot of stuff you're gonna see here is like Renaissance fair stuff, like this embroidered dragon. But here we go, folks. All right, so here is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do kind of like we did last year, which is a quick overview of everything, and then we are going to go more in depth. So stay tuned because we have a lot to cover. But for those who want to get in and get out, I'm going to try to keep the initial tour brief. Please don't ask me for links or where to find some of this stuff because some of it has been so long. There's just no telling if things are still available, what the price is, where to find it. So please just use Google. All right, so here we go. IKEA Kallax shelves. I think those are still available. What I did was 4x4 units with a 2x4 across the top. Of course, this whole area right here is nothing but board games, card games, dice games, war games. Lots of games packed in here. And a little knick-knacky table, which originally was to play 2-player games on, but it's been my where I've been hoarding all of my Renaissance fair finds, but also some other little odds and ends. Like this. Oh, that's right. This was day 24 of the Dice Advent Calendar from Q Workshop, this solid metal D20. And oh my gosh, remember that video I did on $1,000 dice? That's where most of these ended up. All right, so what do we have here? Well, when I was first moving in, I've had this house for about 5.5 years, you know, bringing over truckload after truckload of games from my parents' house and laying them all out on the floor. Finally got these shelves, got them assembled and put up, put the games on the shelves, just haphazardly, no rhyme or reason. That was going to come later, right? I was going to organize it all later. Well, that, folks, never happened. So a lot of these games are in the same initial placement when I put them on the shelf, you know, 5.5 years ago. So there really is no rhyme or reason, though you will see some patterns here or there. You know, I like to keep families of games together, like the Dungeon Fighter stuff or Warhammer Fantasy books, tabletop gaming books in general, Free Blades and Frostgrave. So again, I wish I could say, well, here's all my dungeon crawlers, here's all my Euro games. No, that's just not going to happen. But I think I've done a pretty good job of utilizing space. These shelves have been, you know, for vinyl album collectors, but also have been adopted by board gamers. And that wasn't by accident. They fit really well. Sure, they're not as modular as some other ones, but they do fit really well. And it allows you to kind of sneak a game or two here or there into some of those little nooks and crannies. Huge games going across the top there. And some of my favorites. Crown of Emara, Gizmos, Calimala. Oh my gosh, absolutely love them. Sometimes I'll stick games together just so I can find them again later. If they're like, I'm going to be going to this shelf quite often. Like here's all the Descent stuff, or at least most of it. And second edition, of course. And some of my Dungeons & Dragons Adventure Series games. You'll see there's 4 of them there. There's another one down there. There's another one somewhere else. So I kind of lost track of, you know, keeping those all together. Then vending machines. Folks, that's going to be a theme throughout. We're going to have a lot of vending machines. I just love the idea of the vending machines. And I have a pouch of quarters. Oh, there's so much to look at. There's so much to look at. But here's my pouch. It's not as full. I need to empty some of these machines. But so because I don't want people spending their own money on this, so for my friends and stuff, I have quarters for them. But they're too generous. They don't just accept my charity. I'll find a $5 bill in the coin bag because they're paying me back. I'm like, you guys. All right, here's some more shelves. Don't ask me what shelves these are. This was an auction find. At some auction, my dad got me a pair of these. Actually, there's a third one in my garage right now. They're fantastic, and they are the more modular kind where you can put those shelves at any height. And my gosh, look at how we're playing Tetris with all of these different games. Again, really no rhyme or reason. Some bigger boxes on top, smaller boxes stuck in there. Again, families of games together. Conan, I mean, now you're going to see some disappointing sights when you look at this, which is, you know, one thing that's not disappointing at all is the sheer amount of Zombicide material and expansions from that Kickstarter. A lot of what you see here, I've also done individual videos on. But things like, you know, Blood Rage, I've had it for how long? How long was that Kickstarter? And it's still in shrink wrap. Oh my gosh. Now, I have played Zombicide with the expansions multiple times. But it just kind of depends on availability of people who might be interested in a game like that. My game group tends to lean more toward lighter games with a heavier game thrown in there from time to time. And then another set of shelves over here with, again, big stuff like this War of the Ring Collector's Edition. Still in the box. That's right. I broke it out, did a video on it, packed it up, and there it sits. Some of my favorite games like Zaya are over here. A bunch of Arcadia Quest stuff. Kalis, Rise of Augustus, Jamaica. Haven't touched the Sword and Sorcery. Haven't touched the Scythe. Haven't touched Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. Love Dice Forge. Haven't touched Seventh Continent. Love Fleet Commander. WarQuest. One of my game group's favorite games. Haven't touched the others. A lot of it, as you can see, reflected. Oh, it's all still in shrink. And that is not on purpose, because I do like to play my games. If I ever have the opportunity to break that out, believe me, I will. More games over on this side with some vending machines over here. And oh, that's right. So we have some TV trays, which are essential when you're playing games and you want a little side table for snacks or notes or whatever. And here's Cecilia. She says, "Hey guys, what up?" And yeah, she's one of the mascots of the game room. Let me just do a quick kind of around where we are in the room right now. So it's kind of oddly shaped. There's a bunch more stuff over there. Here's the game table, of course. Love this tapestry. Got it at a Renaissance fair. And this is a BoardGameTables.com table. Can't remember how much I paid. It was years and years and years ago. Lift this top off and it's recessed in there for all your dice rolling needs. There's a drawer for every player. And these games, some of my favorite games over here, like CO2, Castle Merchants, Flashpoint, Lords of Waterdeep, Black Fleet. Oh my gosh, I love Black Fleet. So yeah, that is absolutely fantastic. Chaosals up there, Conquest of Narath. Fantastic. And, you know, take a shot every time I say fantastic. You will be drunk in like 5 minutes. All right, let's go over here. Now, you might notice that cord that kind of wraps around the walls. That's plugged into my router, because now that we're working from home, I needed a wired-in connection upstairs, which unfortunately I don't have in the house. So I had to wind that around to the first floor, up to the second floor. But hey, it works. But here is this Mage Knight retail display with a good chunk, not all, but a good chunk of my unopened Mage Knight figures. It's on wheels, so you can pull that thing out for sure, but there's everything from Rebellion, Uprising, Minions, Whirlwind, Pyramids, and then we have this. Every single drawer, I'm not going to go through them now, because again, we're still in the part of the tour where it's just kind of an overview, but believe me, there's stuff in every drawer. All right, and then this was one of my newer additions, Overflow of Games. I had to do something with them, and a lot of these are the more recent releases. 2020, I have picked up maybe 3 new releases. I swear. I just got this Villagers expansion for Tiny Towns as a Christmas present. Found this Adventure Begins game at Walmart. But 2 of the 2020 releases that I've picked up, have played, and have loved are Calico and Bees. And we'll go over those in a little bit, but just wanted to show you some of those. But again, things like Era, which I absolutely love. Quacks of Quedlinburg is over there. One of my absolute favorite new games is Little Town. And then here's a display that's been in game room after game room, which is these glass cubes. Warhammer Fantasy Blue Table Painting did the painting on these, just like on the Wood Elves we saw upstairs. Empire and Orcs and Goblins over here. These buildings and trees are by the now out of business Custom Kingdoms. Absolutely love them. Everyone always asks when I post a video with those trees, who makes those trees? Those are Custom Kingdoms trees, and they are out of business now, unfortunately. A bunch of miniatures you will see all over the place. Here's some miniature building authority figures. Here's some random figures I got in a lot on eBay. You'll see a lot of fantasy trip stuff, like this poster here. This was a little kind of a memorial to my friend Billy, who passed away in 2020, and our campaign map for Warriors of Mana. We ended it tied 3-3. He was whooping my behind in the latter games, and I guess we'll just leave it tied for now. All right, so then we have just my jewel, my crown jewel, which is the retail display, one of the things I've always wanted to have in my game room, and I made it a reality, is this game store display. So we have the glass case, of course, and it's so funny because, you know, I'll put stuff in here and then years later I'll find out that it's actually worth something, like this Mox Jet from the Power 9 Magic the Gathering. I just got that card like for $200 years ago when I was still collecting Magic. I was like, it'd be cool to have one of the Power 9, and it was $200. I was like, I'll never make my money back on that. Now you check eBay completed listings for a scratched up terrible copy for $1,700. I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe I should get mine graded, because I bought it and it was advertised at the time as near mint, and it looks pretty good. But let's not jump to conclusions. Other things in here, of course, it wouldn't be a game store display without boxes of sealed product like, you know, Dark Age booster packs, or these battle cards, or all these copies of Ogre, dice. Tons of dice. Got this display. Again, can't remember where I got it, how much I paid, etc. You might recognize some of these dice in here from the Dice Advent Calendar. They made their way over here. So we have them separated by D4s, 6s, 8s, 10s, 12s, 20s, percentiles. Magic the Gathering Countdown, spin down 20-sided counters, just some miscellaneous dice, just some fun dice, like dice for Dungeon Crawl Classics, because they needed all kinds of crazy dice, 17-sided dice and stuff. And then we have like a 10 Commandments die. We have rock, paper, scissors dice, day of the week dice, and then melee and wizard copies, ogre copies. Here is where I have all my sleeving supplies, booster pack dispensers, lots of things I found and I just wanted to have a bunch of. That is a reason why I pick up stuff for sure. Free Blades figures. I love this poster back here. It's like a timeline of role-playing games. Oh, it's fantastic. Here is some of those I Built It buildings I have on display. Of course, the mini fridge. This is the snack zone. Have I done a game room tour since doing the snack zone? Poor snack zone. These bins used to be full of, you know, grab-and-go, travel-sized chips, cookies, all kinds of things. This used to be full of pop, beer, water. But, yeah, unfortunately, no gaming has really happened over here in quite a while, so that remains empty. Here is a display case with a sealed copy of TSR's The Classic Dungeon. I'll explain how I got that later in the video when we do a more in-depth tour. We have all these figures here. Blue Table Painting painted Puppet Wars figures. Super Dungeon Explorer figures painted by, I think his name was Dennis Gates. Free Blades figures, again painted by Blue Table Painting. More figures. These are pre-painted confrontation figures from that old game, and then some foreground buildings and more foreground buildings. I put those together. I'm super proud of those. Then some miscellaneous figures down there for like Dungeons and Dragons or what have you. More posters, and of course more capsule machines, and of course our buddy the dragon. I used to be able to say that this armoire was full of old games, 35 years or older, but I ran out of room, so I've been stuffing all kinds of things in these shelves. So still a lot of old stuff though, like Magic Realm, Dawning Empire, Divine Right, Dragon Pass. Oh my gosh, look at all this stuff. And then, you know, tons of role-playing game content. I mean, good grief. If you said, Rick, I'll give you $1 million right now if you tell me what is in here. What are these right here? $1 million. I'd say, sorry, take your money, because I have no clue what is even in here. Oh my gosh, Game Trade magazines, Battletech things. But a lot of this is actually older stuff, like, oh, remember when Gygax magazine was a thing for a short time? Here's some Aries magazines. So a lot of these are gaming magazines. Most of them have games in them if they are over here. And I have a lot of my clever paper buildings. Go check out my video on clever paper and why those are cool. And a lot of miscellaneous figures. We have more I Built It stuff up here with miniature building authority castles. Here are some of my favorite Dungeon Saga figures that were painted for me during that Kickstarter. I was so glad that they did that. Over here is just a bunch of my stuff that I have no room for. So here is a huge thick case full of Arrows and Blades Battleground figures. Here is a case full of Warriors of Mana stuff. That top thing there is full of Arrows and Blades stuff. The bottom one is Blades in the Deep. And then I found a ton of actual role-playing game dice at Dollar Tree. Like they were selling role-playing game dice, so I got just a ton of that stuff. And then Warriors of Mana figures in there as well. Let's see if I can get around here. Fantasy Trip stuff. Boxes and boxes of things there. And of course, this piece of grid wall that has all kinds of figures. Now, don't get me started on the Legendary Encounters line from Reaper. That was great. I was in love with it and I wanted more. And I swear at one point they were going to hold a Kickstarter for Legendary Encounters figures. That never happened. And my questions every time I post on their Facebook page go unanswered. It sounds like it's never going to happen. But we have everything. And then Battletech figures, Ironwind Metals figures, other figures like these amazing Roll for Initiative figures. I need more of those in my life. The Munchkin trading card game. When that first came out, I got a bunch of booster boxes of that and never did anything with it. So a lot of this stuff is just me being me. And then we have okay, let's take a look at these two first. So there's Ricky and Henry. Again, just like Cecilia, they are Halloween decorations. And I don't want to just stuff them in the closet 11 months out of the year. So they sit here and they're like playing games and stuff. I can't really tell right now which game they're playing. But Super Nintendo, SNES, regular Nintendo, PS1, games and controllers and stuff are all in here. And that's just nice to have. It keeps people who don't have the attention span for a board game, it keeps their attention elsewhere. And more stuff over here, like this amazing lamp I got. And dice. There's always dice. Everywhere you look, there's going to be tons of dice. And then all of these games. So I think we covered that all. So 20 minutes, over 20 minutes in, and we've done the cursory review of the main part of the game. Okay, now, people complained last time I did this. I'm going to try to go slow. I'm going to go all the way around. Please don't get dizzy or motion sick. But here's all these board games here. More board game shelves over here. More capsule machines and more board games there. Here's the table right in front of me here. Couch, TV, more games, displays over there, and then we are back to the beginning. All right, and then, am I going too fast? Here we go. Employees only. What's in here? The last part of the tour will take us into the utility room where the furnace and water heater and stuff are. I know people get really paranoid because, something goes wrong with that water heater and all this water is going to pour out. So I know, believe me, that is a concern of mine as well. But what's mostly in here is miniature terrain and accessories. And so let me just do a cursory kind of around the room thing here. And if you remember back in the day, a couple months ago or whatever, I cleaned this all out. Can you believe it? Oh my gosh. So here's a look. Here's where we are now. There's the game room. So in here, we have tons of like classic games I didn't have room for out there. Lots of Dwarven Forge sets. piles and piles of Dwarven Forge sets and accessory sets. I have lots of Dice Masters and Magic the Gathering miniatures still in their sealed packages. There's an Ogre Designer Edition over there. Lots more Dwarven Forge stuff. Magic the Gathering cards. I mean, we're not going to go through all this right now. We may go through it later. Custom Kingdoms, or not Custom Kingdom. Dirt cheap dungeon stuff. I mean, there's just a lot of these boxes are full of capsule refills and also Mage Knight collectible miniature game booster pack cases. And a lot of my thing. I mean, you might be wondering, what the heck is that? Flesh and Frenzy. Oh, that's right. That's just a box, though. The game is at a friend's house. Attack Wings. See, I try to label things because I'm like, what the hell is all this? So here's containers. Here is foreground dungeon pieces. That box is foreground trees. Here's Mage Knight castles. Dwarven Forge City, Attack Wing stuff, tons of just random games that I would get multiples of. Remember when I was into Battleclaw and Mattel sent me the YouTube content creators kit for Battleclaw? That was amazing. That was the entire reason I was doing that. Because that kit comes with one of everything for the game. And I was like, I could keep buying booster packs, which I did anyway. I bought tons of stuff for Battleclaw, but I was like, I'm going to make it my goal to get Mattel's attention so they can send me one of these things. Well, I did enough videos that got enough views that Mattel actually sent me the kit. Oh, that was the highlight of my life. Got a computer over here if I need to do any computing, you know, sound effects or whatever. So that's just nice. These drawers are full of things. Look at these little microscopic dice. They're so small. And then drawers of promos. Look at all these promos in here from all the Dice Tower previous Kickstarters. Games I don't even own a lot of times, but other games I do. Oh, sorry. It's really blurry down there. Come on. Let's come back. What? Why aren't you focusing? There we go. Now we're back. Okay, so lots of Mage Knight stuff over here. And I mean, this is just piled way back to the wall, but it looks a lot better than it did. But these boxes here full of individual Mage Knight figures. Here's where I put a lot of my dungeon dressing and accessory packs for my miniature war games. Eslo terrain is what a lot of this stuff is. So this is kind of what it'll look like. It's beautiful. German made, manufactured, flocked, painted, everything. Comes in these white boxes most of the time. Here's all my Dwarven Forge stuff in bins. These are the Dwarvenite stuff, whereas the stuff in boxes were the resin. Look at all these accessory packs, miniatures for Dwarven Forge, all the miniature, tens of thousands of dollars in miniature building authority buildings, all the way down. Lots of little containers and posters from the Chaos Wars Kickstarter and whatnot. Here is just a ton of other stuff. So Warlock tiles, Dungeons and Lasers, Attack Wing stuff, a lot more Eslo terrain and other terrain. And then look at all this. All these Dwarven Forge sets that are stacked up over here. And then this shelf contains a bunch of miniatures. Look at this Vampire Pledge from the Reaper's first ever Kickstarter. I did the Vampire Pledge. Haven't even opened it. How long ago was that? 10 years ago? 8 years ago? Something like that. Clan War stuff, Crossmaster Arena stuff. I mean, it goes all the way down there. We're talking layers upon layers upon layers of miniatures, terrain. Here is my little workshop with this movable, you know, magnifying light. I use this mostly for basing and for rudimentary terrain creation. I'll base, you know, woodland scenics, trees and stuff. I have painted a few figures before, but if you know me, I am pre-painted all the way. But all my little hobby tools are over here, tweezers, files, whatnot. Look at all this. This is like $1,000 worth of Ironwind Metals figures from their Kickstarter. I don't know why I even got all those, to be honest, because I'll never paint them myself. Random stuff in drawers, and of course this table here, which I have played games in here on this table as well. So there's another table, and it extends, and there's a couple more chairs, one at the desk and one piled in that corner over there, so you can seat 8, because this table pulls out and extends. But so this is this room. Look at all this stuff. Oh my gosh. It's just absolutely insane. All right, folks, that is it for the preliminary Game Room Tour 2021. In a separate video, we are going to do the extended tour. I'm going to go over my favorite games, some hidden treasures, some things that are buried that I haven't seen in years. We're going to discover it all. But again, that's going to be in a separate extended video. But for now, thank you all so much for watching. I do truly appreciate it. And until next time.